So now it's time for the Atlanta Hawks, and obviously both of us go away and look at some notes, and we look at who's on the roster and that, and maybe you'll echo the same thoughts here. Atlanta is kind of tied up in a lot of money. At least, if I'm recalling correctly, because I did this last night, at least five or six players, like over 15 million, and obviously with Trae Young being at the high 30s, a lot of money. So they need to make decisions. So I've identified three decisions they're going to make, and this is where if people felt like my trades were getting out of control, then just strap in because it's about to get wild. So first sensible choice is Onyeka Okongwu should be extended. It's your rookie. He's shown some flashes, but he's actually going to be important because I'm about to blow up everything that Atlanta's ever built. We are doing a trade. So on the block is John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, and they are heading off to the Phoenix Suns for DeAndre Ayton and Torrey Craig, which did work according to my trade machine. The logic behind that is John Collins really more of a role man, really not doing much, and DeAndre Ayton probably just needs a change of scenery, and you would hope that he can turn into a 20 and 10 sort of person. He probably hate playing against Trae Young, but spoiler alert, maybe something's going to happen down the line for them as well. And then because we've got Onyeka Okongwu and because we've got DeAndre Ayton, we also don't have a need for Clint Capella anymore. And he is heading off to the Sacramento Kings. And this is a bit of a salary dump move. And they're getting in return Rashawn Holmes, which never touched the court for Sacramento. And I believe T. Davis, according to the trade machine, I literally just needed him to get the salaries correct. And obviously, Atlanta is trading out some assets here, and they're getting either maybe 70 cents on the dollar, or whatever you want to call it as conversion. So they need to get some picks. You can't do picks properly on the trade machine, and there's also some things that need to wait. So, as you would know, that would be the thing. But here is my logic with the Atlanta Hawks. This core cannot perform. In fact, they would like the most 500 team of all time, right? They'd win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. And there needs to be a significant shift in their thinking. Capella has value, but massive contract and has shown some injury concerns. Rashawn Holmes has some veteran small ball flexibility there. And as I said, T. Davis is just there for the fun. Torrey Craig's an expiring contract, essentially, and DeAndre Ayton is a youthful center to build around and clearly needs a change of scenery out of there. But um, I'm only allowed three moves, and I have more moves to make for the Atlanta Hawks, but you will probably have to tune into a different video to get that. But obviously, I'm aware the two guard situation needs to be resolved, and I do resolve that. But what did you do for Atlanta Hawks, my fake GM friend?
I didn't freak out as much as you seem like you're freaking out here. Like what the hell? I actually you definitely didn't disappoint that you said you had a few players to trade, right? And I'm going to take a stab here. You'd like to trade some more players too, like to balance out the two guard roster and so on and so forth. Like I I don't think the Hawks need to freak out. Like I said, I think firstly you mentioned that change has to occur. Maybe a philosophy change has to occur. Approach to the game has to occur. They were ranked 22nd in defense this year. Okay, that has to go up. It has to improve. All right. If you were a significant playoff team that's going to go back to the conference finals, which they did not that long ago, that defense has to sort of move closer to that top 10 sort of ranking to be taken seriously. And I think the first step here the Heat need to do is give Quin Snyder a full season. I think that's the biggest move that they've already made that will pay dividends for them this year. Okay, I think everyone definitely has a lot of respect as a coach for Quin Snyder and what he did with the Utah Jazz. Ultimately, he decided just to step out there, had enough or whatever it was, and he sort of stepped away from there. He's come now, obviously, to the Hawks, and getting a full season of him on the sidelines, I think, is going to be a huge step for the Hawks to trend in the right direction. Last year, I think there was a lot of noise about the coaching personnel and maybe they were clashing with Trae Young and so on and so forth. And, it just never really clicked, like you sort of mentioned. They were 500 all year round and, they were quite easily eliminated, in the playoffs. So I think that's it. I guess you've got a long list of trades. I've got a sort of real short list of things to really focus on. I'm saying you stay with this core, but I do have a trade. I do have a trade. Here's a bit of fun, all right, with this trade. But this trade actually gives them with the trade machine, which you suddenly seem like a big fan of. A bit of fun there, right? That you can plug in names and then shift them all around like 2K somewhat. That it actually gives them 7 more wins according to the trade machine. So it's a real positive trade here for the Atlanta Hawks. So here's a bit of fun. I'm saying that they trade Bogdanovic, yeah, and maybe a second round pick, okay, or something like that, a couple years from now, for Bojan Bogdanovic at the Detroit Pistons. So I guess, they don't have to change their singlets too much. I guess they probably don't even have to make some new ones. But it actually gives them a 7-win advantage. So, if the, Pistons want to listen here, take a player who's a little bit younger, who's 4 years younger, maybe fits a bit better with their timeline. The Hawks could definitely, boost their scoring power from probably for a 6-man role, or he could even slide into the starting lineup there, fill that spot that was vacated. With some of the trades at the end of last year. And the Hawks, I think the Hawks are gonna win a few more games this year. Let's say 48 to 50 games this year. I don't know. That's my early take there.
Yeah, look, I like the one you said about Quin Snyder. That's a sensible choice. I think the reason why I'm not willing to jump on that bandwagon for this specific team is there's been a bit of an issue of culture, right? And, obviously what we cite is the Eastern Conference Finals run in a very unique sort of playoff run. And every playoff run, now when we really dissect playoff runs, they're all a little bit asterisk filled, oh, that was interesting. And, oh, it's kind of interesting how this played out. And, oh, that team actually wasn't as good as we thought they were, or they had a mental choke. And, for Atlanta, Trae Young has now phased out 2 coaches, and we understand that there's a massive defensive liability with him. So staying the course, I do wonder how much things are going to be different. And after this demonstration in the playoffs, where the East top teams legitimately have holes and flaws that can prevent them from making the finals, you kind of want to go for a little bit, or at least you want to put yourself in a position to be competitive. And yours is probably more likely to get them playoff success next season or the season after. But I'm probably steered more on the logic of, I think over your next 5 years, nothing good's going to come out of what's already been shown. But that's what the comment section are for.
I'm going to totally agree with you. That's actually a thought I had just before we started recording today, that the Hawks aren't going to win a championship with this core. I think that's something that has to be, considered here, that, they're going to improve. We're looking at improvements here. Can they get to the conference semifinals again? Yeah. Or conference finals again, to be more specific. But Trae Young leading the Hawks to a ring, it's not going to happen. And so it has to be Trae Young plus someone else. In fact, it's someone plus Trae Young. Probably Trae Young is the second option. Okay. And that player here is currently not in a Hawks uniform. I'm not actually sure who it would be or how they can actually get to Atlanta, but that's the greater reality. I think that's sort of what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just taken aback that someone actually agreed with one of my ideas for this. So this is lovely.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.